Today, we are going to talk about multiple offers and multiple offers and competing in a multiple offer situation. We're going to talk about some tips and strategies that will help you get your offer accepted in a multiple offer situation. But before we get started, down below, let me know where you're from, what part of the world are you from, and I will introduce myself to you. I am Tammy Cranage. I am a loan officer with Loan Depot, and I am your lending leader. And I specialize in helping my customers create wealth through real estate. I got you into this debt. I'm going to help you get out of this debt. And I do that by using tools and strategies to help you integrate your mortgage into your long and short-term financial goals. There is so much to a mortgage now. It is not just your mom and dad's 30-year fix and forget. So just want to share you guys a story about what is going on in this market right now. I have a client who has been out there looking at houses, putting in multiple offer situation. They described it as an open house circuit. And every time they go to an open house, they find there's the same people that were looking last weekend. So the reason that I wanted to do this class is I want to talk to you guys about how to stand out in a multiple offer situation, because it can be very stressful. And also today I want to talk to you guys about a market update. The bond market dropped a lot yesterday, which means that interest rates are going to start ticking up from the twos. It's funny, this time last year, the interest rates were in the low threes. And this time, a year later, almost exactly a year later, the rates are in the low threes. So the rates are, and this time last year, people were falling all over themselves to get into those rates. So the moral of the story is the rates are historically lower than they've been historically. So if you have not had an opportunity to take advantage of these rates, the time is now. So, and for those of you who are joining me, please hashtag replay. And those of you at Family Reunion, I know I've got a lot of my Keller Williams agents at Family Reunion. So a shout out to all of you who are in Vegas at the Keller Williams Family Reunion today. You guys can catch this on the replay. Okay, so multiple offers and competing home offers. Let's talk about some strategies to help you guys win this. Right now, we are in the middle of a phenomenon that occurs when a home buyer decides to write a purchase on the home. In my 20 years of doing this, I have never seen so lack of inventory. The average home on the market stays on the market anywhere from 3 to 6 months, depending on your town. So the average absorption rate, if you will, is about 6 months. Right now, it's days and weeks, which means competition is fierce when it comes to putting offers in on a house. So how do you stand out? Well, you've come to the right place, my friends, because that is what I am about. I am about standing out. I'm about being different, and I'm about helping you win deals. Now, and helping your family, and also helping your real estate agent win your deal. So now, sometimes, I just don't want to lose my spot here. Okay, so sometimes people don't want to get caught up in this whole multiple offer situation. They're like, you know what, I'm not a competitive person. I don't want to put in an offer because I don't want to have to compete against other people's offers. Well, we're going to talk about some of those strategies, because what I'm going to teach you is that it's not just about the price. That the homes that I'm seeing that are winning in multiple offers are not just about the price. It's about other things. And there's other factors that play into it. So let's talk about some of those. The first thing I want to talk to you guys about is a non-refundable earnest deposit. Now, what is an earnest deposit? A deposit is when you make an offer on your house, especially in Fairfield County, you make an offer on your house, it's a 1% deposit that you make at the time of the offer. So what if, and by the way, none of these you have to do, but what if you make that non-refundable? So if you're putting in an offer on a $500,000 house and you give a 1% earnest deposit What if it's non-refundable? Now, why would you do that? Well, a lot of times what happens is people are putting in an offer in on a property, and the seller might be worried that you are going to walk away after the inspection. So now if they have 1% of your deposit that is non-refundable, you're less likely to walk away because of the inspection. So now, again, all of these ideas, these are tips and tricks and strategies. You don't have to do them. They're just some ideas to help you win. And you know what? Not everybody watches my broadcast, so you guys are the only ones seeing these ideas. All right, number 2, show the seller that you are qualified. Now, there's a lot of lenders out there who will allow you to go on their website and print a pre-approval in about a nanosecond. I understand that. And they get the stuff out to you pretty quick. But if you're working with someone like me, I am going to call the listing agent and I am going to speak on your behalf, and I am going to explain to them why you are the person who needs to buy that house. Not only that, but I'm also going to tell the listing agent that I am going to make them look like a hero for accepting your offer, because I'm going to keep in touch with them. Here's a story. I sold my house some time ago, and the person who was buying my house switched lenders 3 times. Now, can you imagine how stressful that was for me? Being in the business, it was very stressful for me to know that they kept switching the lenders 3 times and there was nothing I could do about it. I had no control over it. I either could allow them to extend the contingency date or I could walk away. Those were my choices. And I will tell you, being, knee deep into something like that, you are not going to walk away. So, but what I've learned from that is that it is so important to keep the listing agent involved, to let them know the appraisal's been ordered, the appraisal's been scheduled, we're here. If you hit a glitch, I will tell them, listen, we hit this has happened, here's what I've done to fix it, we're moving on. Because at the end of the day, that listing agent is taking a gamble on you and your pre-approval letter that might not be worth anything. So I, as your lender, make an appointed effort to let the listing agent know that I hear them, I appreciate how hard they work to get that listing, and I am going to help them finish it out by looking like a hero. And let me tell you guys, there are some people on here. Comment if you're one of those agents who worked with me because you were the listing agent, or won a deal because of something that I did to help you. Please comment below so that we can hear that. This is an engaging, I want to know what your thoughts are. Okay, so what number are we on? 3. Shorten or waive some of your contingencies. Shorten or waive your contingencies. What does that mean? Well, in a normal situation, the inspection contingency is 10 days. So that is 10 days that the seller took their house off the market and now has the possibility that you could walk away. That goes back to our non-refundable earnest deposit as well. But shorten the contingency. If you're putting in an offer today, today's Wednesday, you're putting in an offer today, get that before your offer is even accepted. Make sure you have your inspection scheduled right away. Try to get your inspection scheduled within 48 hours of the offer being accepted, because that can be disconcerting. Having your house off the market for 10 days in this market is a big deal. So you want to make it easy for the seller to accept your offer. So shorten the inspection contingency, or just waive the inspection contingency altogether. Again, there's risk involved in that, because if you do go and make an offer on a house and find out that a tree fell on the house last year and the guy's stepfather fixed it and they didn't use contractors, well, that could be a problem. So Or if you find out that they did all this big remodel work and they never filed for permits, okay, that's a problem. So that's why you want to either shorten the inspection period or waive the inspection period, depending on the house. Make sure you have an eye for this stuff before you go ahead and do it. But these are strategies to help you win the offer. Not all of them are going to work all of the time, but I really want you guys to have a competitive advantage. All right, this one I hear is a big one. You want to bridge the gap between the appraisal and the sales price. Now, I'm hearing all kinds of stuff. I've written pre-approvals myself where the appraisals are coming in, the offers are being accepted. The highest I've heard so far is $50,000 above ask. So if a house is $50,000 above ask, and trust me, you're worried about it, so is the seller worried about that not appraising. That is another video, and I've talked about appraisals in this group, so definitely find the appraisal video to talk about how we handle that. But bridge the gap. So again, the seller is worried that the house is not going to appraise, just like you're worried about it. So what do? You can bridge the difference. How far are you willing to go? So if you are $50,000 above ask on a house and the appraisal comes in $40,000, so now there's a $10,000 gap. Are you willing to bridge that $10,000 gap? So when you're writing up your offer, you can put in the offer that you're willing to bridge the gap by $10,000. You're willing to bridge the gap by $5,000. And as your lender, we're going to talk about that number before it even happens. So you're going to know what your max is before you even get to that point. But again, you're calming the seller's fears. You're addressing a concern that the seller is likely aware of, him or herself. So that is, so you can bridge the gap. The next one, I see this all the time. It's kind of crazy to me. Write your best offer first. Guys, in this market that we are in right now, it is 2021. It is February 2021. This is not the market where you're going to get a deal buying a new house. You're not getting the deal. It's not going to happen. If you're looking for a deal, have a seat on the sidelines and come back when the market corrects, because you're not going to get a deal. This is not the market for you. You need to write your best offer first. You can't, there's not going to be time to negotiate. How much, how far, what are your terms? You need to write that all in your initial offer right up front. Show your best set of cards right up front. Because where are you going to get the deal? I've been saying it for weeks. You're going to get the best deal in the interest rates. Fun fact, this time last year, actually this time last year, last week, the houses, a $500,000 house at 3.25 was the same payment as a house at 2.875 at $533,000. So there's a 6% difference in there. So the house last year might have been cheaper, but because the interest rates were higher, it actually costs the same as it does this year. So it's all relative. So don't get caught up in the fact that the house is more expensive this year than it was last year. Last year's gone. We've got to move on from last year. It's not last year anymore. The fact is that if you're worried about that, just know that 6 months or a year from now, the house you're looking at today could be worth more tomorrow or the next day or the next year. Look, how long do you plan on staying in this house? That's what you need to pay attention to. Condos are appreciating at 3 to 4% on average, and homes right now, it's like 5 to 7% depending on the area. So if you're going to be in this house for 5 to 10 years, you're going to be fine on appreciation. The house isn't going to lose the value. So write your best offer first, your highest and best, your best terms. What are you willing to give up? What are you willing to take a chance on? Those are the terms that win offers. I've written a lot of deals in the last couple of months, guys, and I will tell you, it is not the highest price that wins all the time. All right. Here's an oldie but goodie. Share the love. Write a seller love letter. I always tell the story. This is back 5 years ago now, but she's a 3P client. She actually just bought a house. Congratulations to her. She knows who she is. Writing a seller love letter, as much as we don't want to admit it, it is a emotional transaction. Buying a house and selling a house is emotional. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be logical, but it's not. It's emotional. So if you write a love letter to a seller and you tell them what you loved about their house and explain to them how you plan on raising your family or your grandkids, or you absolutely love what they did with the kitchen. Find real things, guys. Be genuine. Like, don't make up stuff. Don't be like, oh my goodness, I absolutely love your avocado appliances and I can't wait to decorate around your aluminum foil style dining room. Like, be genuine. If it is a house like that, you can say to them, I can tell this house was so well kept. I can tell that you put a lot of love into it. I can see that, whatever. Acknowledge true things. Be authentic about stuff about the house that you love and share that with the seller, because that goes a long way. Now, if it's an investor or you're buying a flipped house, it might not work as much, but you know what? The guy who bought that house to flip it, he bought it with a family in mind too. So are you that family that he had in mind? And that's what you need to find out. Which brings me to my pro tips. So there's a couple of pro tips that I want to share with you. So pro tip number 1, play nice with the seller. Find out what is really going on with them. I know when my husband and I bought our first house years ago, we found out that the people were about to have another baby and they were having a house built. So we made the process easy for them. We weren't in a rush on the closing date. We were able to be flexible with them. It was in the middle of winter, so we knew that things could get delayed on their new construction house. So we were flexible with them and we worked with them. And there were certain plants that they wanted to take out of the backyard. I was fine with that. It was important to them, so it was important to me. So pro tip number 1, be a person. Don't be a jerk. Be a person. Be nice. Play nice with the seller. Because I've seen some sellers get really nasty and make the process much more difficult than it needs to be. So you definitely want to make sure that you are playing nice. I just need to put my phone on Do Not Disturb because the texts are just blowing up right now. All right, so pro tip number 1, be nice, play nice with the seller. Get along, find out what makes them tick, find out what's important to them, and work with that. Pro tip number 2, this is a big one. Sell your house first. I know this is a big one, because what if I sell my house before I find one I like? That is definitely a risk you're going to take. Now, is there someplace you can go? I know some of my agents have been successful with short-term rentals while you're looking for the perfect place. Because I can tell you right now, a seller is not going to accept a a Hubbard clause, it's called. Meaning that the sale of your house is dependent on, the purchase of their house is contingent on the sale of your house. If that's the case, they're not going to accept your offer. Not in this market. In other markets, they will, but in this market, they're not going to accept your offer. So sell your house first. Talk to your agent about a short-term rental. There's lots of them out there. Living with family, putting stuff in storage. I get it. That's not easy. It's a big hassle. I hear you. Now, reality is, if you're playing nice with the people buying your house and the people whose house you're buying is playing nice with you and everybody's all playing nice, then you guys can be flexible with the closing date. Your house is under contract to sell on this day. Can you rent the house back from them? Can you move in and rent it back? Can they stay in the house for another month while you're there's different ways to make this work. Can you move into their house and rent it back from them? Or can you close and let them rent the house from you? So this all goes back to playing nice with the seller. But the key is, you can't have your house hanging over you no more than they can have their house hanging over them. So you have to have your house listed and sold. And worst case scenario, you don't find a house first, then there's short-term rentals, there's living with family, which, trust me, I would rather live in a cardboard box than live with family. But there are short-term rentals. but there's options. So explore all those options and just know what your choices are. It doesn't have to be all clear cut. And then this is my last big pro tip. It's very competitive out there. I'm a competitive person. If you've ever played in sports, you're a competitive person. You're not trying to win the deal. This isn't a game. You're not trying to be the highest and the best. There's something exhilarating about winning the offer, but we're not out there to win just an offer. You're out there to win the house of your dreams for now. So don't get caught up in the hype. Don't offer $50,000 above ask if you only plan on staying in this house for 5 years. So don't get caught up in the hype. This is a big deal. Buying a home is a big deal. And the market we're in now, you guys are out there making decisions on houses, and you have to make a decision on a house and quickly. So you're not giving up, you're walking through a house, you have a half an hour to decide whether you can spend the next 5 years in this house. It's a big decision, but you know what? It's not final either. If the house works out, if it turns out where this isn't the right house, in the market we're in now, you could just sell it next year and probably make a profit even. But don't get caught up in the hype. Don't just be so focused on winning the bid and winning the deal that you make an offer on a house that you really aren't going to like after a while. All right, so those are my tips on winning in a multiple offer situation. It's crazy out there right now, and my agents are working hard to help you guys. And my goal is to help you guys all win the offers that you win the houses of the house. My goal is to help you guys get the house that you really want. And I'm here to help you do that. And I'm here to partner with your agent to also help you do that. So be sure to leave me your comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. We are over 100 people. I can't even believe it. I started this group less than a month ago, and we were at 18 people, and now we're at 112. So thank you so much for your support, for watching, for your shares, for your comments. I do appreciate it. All right, everyone. Have a great day. Until my next video. Mwah!